Hi, I'm Lauren Bryant, twin mum, event host, and award-winning small business specialist with a background in automotive and finance. I'm coming up to 10 years of Empower House, where I've helped hundreds of women streamline and scale their business. The greatest thing I've built, though, is an incredible community through my events, the Brunch Club. In over 70 live events, I've created thousands of connections and raised tens of thousands of dollars for charity. Most of all, I created a no-pressure networking space for women to feel seen, heard, and supported. This podcast is an extension of that, where I can share what I've learned, bring amazing speakers to share their story, and keep living the Empower House values: community, empowerment, and education. If you are an ambitious woman in business, welcome. This is for you.
Hi, darling. Welcome back to the Empower House podcast. I am so glad to have you here with me today. We are talking about the real reason that you aren't successful yet. And for some people, the truth stings a little bit, but the fact is that we are all working within our own parameters. And for some people, that looks like working business hours in a job and then working on their side hustle at night. For others, there are kids to take care of and nighttime feeds, and the time is limited. For somebody else, they might be living with chronic illness or injury, and somebody else is just coming back from a big loss, or they're starting from scratch or transitioning from employee to self-employed. The fact is that there are so many different parameters that you can't just go and compare what you're seeing online with what's happening for you within your world. And that's the start of this. There is a version of you who dreamt of living the life that you are living right now. This didn't happen by accident. So let me give you a personal example of that. I can tell you that in my early 20s, I dreamed of having my own business. I was working in a panel shop at the time, and I was traveling to work one day and ended up in a major car accident. I spent the next few years on painkillers. I had migraines all the time. They would put me into bed. They would keep me in bed for days. I did all the rehab. I went to Pilates. I went to yoga. I lifted weights. I didn't drink. I did this. I did that. I did everything to try and fix what had happened to me. But I lived with chronic pain for 9 years before I met someone who could actually help me solve the issues that I was having. For 9 years, my definition of success was waking up and not being in pain, or having to think about how to avoid flaring up my injuries again. It was a day where I didn't have to take painkillers, I didn't have a migraine, that sort of thing. So for me, that was success. And I lived like that for 9 years, which is a really long time. I know that other people have had much worse situations than that, but that was my reality. I have some more stories that I want to share with you, and these are some success stories from clients of mine. I think it's important to illustrate to you what different versions of success can look like. So one client of mine had a clinic. She built it from scratch. She was super busy. When I met her, she had 6 staff. There were no real systems within that business, and she knew that she couldn't scale the business without them, which is where I came in. And so we systemized the business. Then we got really clear on where she wanted the business numbers to be. We worked on KPIs for the team and got profitability up, and it made an amazing business. Everybody knew what they had to do, when they had to do it, and everything was just humming along. And all of this made her business saleable, and she did sell it for a very pretty multi-7-figure sum, which is amazing, right? That sounds like success. I had another client, and she was a single mum working in a 9-to-5 job, but her daughter was having trouble at school and kept getting suspended. And my client kept getting called out of work all the time because of that, which obviously isn't ideal because you're the sole earner in the house and you've got to put food on the table and pay the mortgage and the bills and all of that. So she started her own business, and started working from home. She was at home for her daughter. She was working more hours, but she was there. She was present. And that made all the difference. Obviously, we worked on numbers, we got the website happening for her, and fast forward a couple of years, and the business did great. Her daughter had finished school, and the client was able to press pause on her business and booked a one-way trip to travel the world. And then when she decided to come home, she just picked up where she left off and redefined how she wanted to work for the next season of her life. Pretty cool. And then I had another client who was in business with her partner, but when they split up, she had to start a new business from scratch. And she has one clear offer and gets incredible results. So we put up a new website, we put the sales system in, and she went to work. She was 100% focused on her work. She was serving her clients, she was making money, she was letting all of her results and her clients' results speak for themselves. So in no time at all, she had her new business outperforming her old one of like 10 years. So it has only gone up from there. Now she's bought property, she's traveled the world, and just created a whole new life for herself. I can tell you so many more stories just like these ones, but they've all got one thing in common. They all defined what success looked like for them and then went all in on that. That is the one thing that is holding you back right now. The real reason that you aren't successful yet is because you haven't defined what success looks like for you. You are living on somebody else's metrics. You are comparing yourself to what you see online, to what you know about the behind the scenes of it all for you. You aren't checking in regularly with yourself or keeping track of the progress that you're making. So how would you even know that you have made progress towards a goal that you haven't defined, or how to make that happen faster next time? So there's a whole bundle of things here. It's time to stop for a minute. And I want you to take note of the things that you don't have control over. Your life and the way that you have to live it is defined very differently from somebody else's. So we're looking at those parameters first. What time do you have? What energy do you have? What other commitments or responsibilities do you have that's going to take away from your time to work in and on your business? What are you working in and around? And then we're going to define what success actually looks like for you, for today, for the week, for the month, for this year, and for 5 years down the track. So we've got a really clear path to follow. This is the thing that we are working towards, and we let every other decision be guided by that true north. Once you get clear on your definition of what success looks like for you, everything else can fall into place. You can drop the shiny object syndrome and just stay focused on your journey. I always love to hear from you, so please come and DM me, tag me on Instagram, and tell me what it is that you are working towards. What is your definition of success? Thank you for joining me.
Hi, I'm Lauren Bryant, twin mum, event host, and award-winning small business specialist with a background in automotive and finance. I'm coming up to 10 years of Empower House, where I've helped hundreds of women streamline and scale their business. The greatest thing I've built, though, is an incredible community through my events, the Brunch Club. In over 70 live events, I've created thousands of connections and raised tens of thousands of dollars for charity. Most of all, I created a no-pressure networking space for women to feel seen, heard, and supported. This podcast is an extension of that, where I can share what I've learned, bring amazing speakers to share their story, and keep living the Empower House values: community, empowerment, and education. If you are an ambitious woman in business, welcome. This is for you. On the podcast today. I will see you again really soon. Have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for joining me on podcast today. I hope you loved this episode. If you did, please remember to share it with somebody else who you think will enjoy it too. I would love it if you leave a review, which helps me reach more people just like you. And don't forget to come and join me on Instagram at empower.house. Thank you, darling.